Hey, what's good, fam? This is Wesley A. Johnson II. It's been a minute since I've been with you all. This is another episode of Twisted Theology, where we challenge some of the notions, some of the ideologies and ways of thinking that has shaped us, particularly from a Christian perspective. We recognize that narrative is laced with a socialization that has often been harmful to people of color. I was licensed to ministry in 1998. As a matter of fact, that year, my middle son, who was behind me, he was born that year. He was in my wife's womb the year that I was licensed to ministry. And so ministry has evolved over the years. It has become vogue. It has become, in many instances, substanceless, to be quite honest. It's lost a lot of substance. And I'm just examining, processing internally as I watch what's going on externally. What is the role, what is the prophetic role of the preacher? I'm reading a book here called 400 Souls. It was edited by Abraham X. Kendi, a popular author. Many of you know. It's really a collection of essays written by a host of different black authors and given their take on our 400-year sojourn. I don't know if you know, but this weekend is the 58th anniversary of the March on Washington. That march changed the trajectory of black people's lives in this country. It wasn't the only event, but it was one of the most significant singular events in the history of this nation. And as I consider the role of the black preacher, the black pastor, we have become consumed with growing buildings. Our resumes read how much property we have, not how much impact we're having. And so I'm examining this as we approach this 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. Dr. King, beyond my father, was a significant influence on my life. There's nobody more significant than my dad. But if there are a few other men who I did not have the privilege to meet, but had a huge impact. And Dr. King was one of those dudes, man. And so I celebrate his leadership, and it causes me to think about the space in which I find myself operating in a predominantly white community where our African American population is continuing to shrink because of economics. So what do? I am encouraging those of us of color to reconsider what it means to minister prophetically, what it means to serve communally. And I'm challenging our white brothers and sisters who are the beneficiaries of a historic and horrid legacy that has placed you in a position of privilege and power, to reconsider how you share and how you leverage the complexion that you were born with that has afforded you privileges that have hurt other people. For those of you who find yourself being called white and you find yourself calling yourself a Christian or some other expression of faith that should lend itself to the goodwill of all humanity, what will you do in this day and hour as voter rights are being rolled back, as voter suppression is beginning to heighten, as folks are becoming blatant about not wanting people of color to vote? What will you do with the voice that you have been given? That is the task for all of us. I hope that you recognize that this book that we call the Bible is not just some historical book, but it really is a narrative where we extract the principles from the book so that we can try to live the best life possible. If you take the book and study it and not worship it, then guess what will happen? You'll be able to pull principles that are archaic and ancient, and you'll be able to live into some of those principles that are still relevant today. Too many of us are trying to extract every aspect of the book and live today. It's an ancient and archaic book that was connected to a particular group of people, and we've tried to idolize a book and a narrative that capture the journey of a particular group of people. Let's extract the principles that are relevant, and how do we live into that to be our best selves. Because when we are our best selves, humanity and everyone around us is better. This is your boy, Wes Johnson. This is another episode of Twisted Theology. I want to say thank you all, man, for tracking with me. Thank you all. I'm not a social media dude, but I'm starting to really like it. And my numbers are bolstering because you guys are rocking with me. I appreciate it so much. Against my son Amari. Good dude, man. Good dude. And so, deep dude too. Maybe one day he'll have his podcast or social media piece. And maybe we'll chop it up one day. Let's chop it up. We need to do that for sure. Well, peace and blessings, man. You all have a phenomenal weekend. And remember that your theology is at its best when it's twisted. Peace.